Hello everyone, I hope all of you are having a great day so far, whether it's the morning or the afternoon classes. So for today we are going to continue talking about the 100 Years' War. For homework tonight, complete the Chapter 11, Section 3A worksheet, which I assigned yesterday, and that is due Thursday by 3 p.m. That is your last homework assignment. Alright, so please make sure that you get that done and complete it to me. If you have some time, work on the end of the year projects. Feel free to email me if you have any questions. And take out your notes and let us pick up where we left off. Okay. So yesterday we talked about how King Edward III of England initiated the 100 Years' War. And for the first part of the 100 Years' War, England has the advantage, right, because of the longbow tactics that they used. They're going to be able to defeat the French at several major battles: Battle of Poitiers, the Battle of Agincourt, Battle of Crécy. But in time, the French are going to figure out how to defeat the English. All right, and Prince Charles VII, who was kind of appointed to fill that role that the Capetian family was in France. He is the Prince of Southern France. And he basically wants to take back all of France that was lost during the first part of this 100 Years' War. Prince Charles VII really does not know how to do that. And he is basically willing to do anything to try and defeat the English. And one day he's visited by a French peasant girl called Joan d'Arc. And she becomes known as Joan of Arc. But she was a French peasant girl. She was about 13 years old when she visits Prince Charles VII. And she's going to ask basically Prince Charles's advisor if she could meet with him, because she claims she had a vision that she is going to make Prince Charles VII the King of France. A lot of people think she is out of her mind. She is a peasant. She has no business dealing with the matters that are going on in France. But she kind of is persistent, and finally Prince Charles VII accepts her visit, and she talks to Prince Charles on how she was visited by Catholic saints. All right, France is a very Catholic country, and she tells Charles VII that he is the true king of France. Okay, Charles VII has her questioned by doctors and priests. Eventually, the doctors and priests, said these visions are in fact true. They are a message from God. And Prince Charles VII will send Joan off, all right, to lead the French army, specifically at the Battle of Orleans. And Joan of Arc, she never actually did any physical combat during the battle. She basically carried a banner. She prayed with the soldiers, motivated the soldiers, and she's going to help lead the army to victory at Orleans through her faith, all right, and through the faith that guided France to victory. And then she leads France to a few more victories after Orleans. Eventually, England realizes that France has some momentum. They decide to make it their plain mission to capture Joan of Arc. So she's captured by the English, and when she's captured, she's basically put on trial for heresy, basically false word against God, and eventually, all right, she is found guilty, and she is burned at the stake and becomes known as Joan of Arc. She is the patron saint of the country France today. What is interesting, though, Charles VII did nothing to help Joan of Arc out of prison and get out of prison in England. All right, he did not do anything, and eventually he is crowned king. All right, Joan of Arc's vision did come through in the city of Reims, and the French will go on to be not victorious, but able to take back all of the land that they lost during the first part of this 100 Years' War. Okay, and eventually this war does come to an end. But the 100 Years' War had some major effects on Europe, which we're going to talk about in the next few slides. All right, the first effect, let's focus on England, is there was a strong sense of nationalism, and that was in both kingdoms. People had a strong sense of patriotic duty, not just to their home or to their town, but to their kingdom, to France or either England. Kings were viewed as national leaders. Their power was more solidified over everyone within their kingdom. England, however, is going to suffer a period of turmoil. After the 100 Years' War, they went through a civil war called the War of the Roses, in which the Tudor family eventually takes over the basically Kingdom of England. And then for France, the French monarch's power increased, and the status of the French monarch's power increased more than it ever was prior to the 100 Years' War. I'll give you guys a couple seconds to copy this down, but these are some major effects of the 100 Years' War. There's some other effects we're going to talk about on the next slide. You could always pause the video or go back to get any notes that you missed. Moving on. Some other effects. In 1453, with the end of the 100 Years' War, a lot of historians classify that as the end of the Middle Ages. Two things kind of leave society: religious devotion. You see a significant decrease in the amount of people that are loyal to the Catholic faith. That's also because the Protestant Reformation started to go on in Western Europe, and the code of chivalry also crumbles. You no longer see knights being used as the source of an army. All right, the Age of Faith died from the Great Schism. There's a major split in the church because of the church's scandalous display of wealth and political power. All right, and the bubonic plague also hurt a lot of people's faith, which we talked about early on in this section. So, Age of Chivalry dies on the battlefields of the 100 Years' War, and religious devotion decreases as a result of this event. So this is the last slide for today. We'll talk about the Reconquista tomorrow. If you have any other questions about these slides, I will answer them in our conference on Thursday. I hope all of you have a great activities day tomorrow. I think that is your last activities day of the year. All right, so please be sure to go to your activity, enjoy it, and I truly hope that this pandemic comes to an end and we are back to somewhat of a normalcy routine in life and back in school in September. Thank you, everyone. Have a great day. Take care.